Chicago, a city already on edge over immigration enforcement and questions of federal authority. But this week, a single viral video shook the city, and maybe even the nation. The clip is raw, grainy, and chaotic. It shows at least 10 federal agents, identified as ICE officers, surrounding a young man on a bicycle. The man appears to be a food delivery worker, backpack strapped tight, sweat dripping down his face. He tries to pedal through the swarm of officers. What happens next is nothing short of cinematic. He escapes. The bicycle darts between uniforms, wheels spinning fast, the crowd shouting. ICE officers reach out, some trying to grab him, others yelling commands. But the rider doesn't stop. He weaves through traffic, narrowly avoiding being tackled, and somehow disappears into the maze of downtown Chicago. In seconds, the moment becomes legend. Phones capture it, Twitter floods with reposts, TikTok remixes the chase, and YouTube channels break it down frame by frame. Within hours, millions of people around the country are watching one delivery worker outmaneuver a dozen federal agents. But what does this video actually mean? And why has it struck such a deep nerve? The human side of the chase first. Let's focus on the man at the center of it all. Eyewitnesses describe him as a food delivery worker, one of thousands who keep Chicago's busy streets alive with takeout orders, grocery runs, and late-night snacks. They are often immigrants, sometimes undocumented, riding bikes through traffic to make ends meet. In the viral clip, you can see his desperation. He isn't just pedaling to escape, he's pedaling for survival. Every push of the wheel screams fear, adrenaline, and determination. For him, being caught might mean more than just an arrest. It could mean detention, deportation, and the end of his life in Chicago. That's the haunting power of this footage. It's not just about a chase. It's about one man's freedom hanging in the balance, the agent's side. But then there's the other side. Federal officers clearly outnumbering their target, scrambling across sidewalks. Their uniforms read ICE. Their mission is to enforce federal immigration law. To them, this wasn't a dramatic scene for TikTok. It was their job, to detain someone who they claim had no legal right to remain in the country. Critics, however, are asking tough questions. Why were so many officers deployed for one cyclist? Why in broad daylight in the middle of a crowded city? Why with such aggressive tactics, almost swarming him like a pack closing in on prey? Civil rights groups are calling the chase unnecessary, even dangerous. Imagine if the cyclist had been hit by a car during his escape. Imagine if one officer had pulled a weapon. Imagine the panic in the crowd as Chicagoans watched federal agents take over their street, like a scene from an action movie. Chicago's history with ICE. To understand why this video exploded, we need to look at Chicago's long, complicated history with federal immigration. Enforcement.Chicago calls itself a sanctuary city. That means local police and government. Officials are not supposed to cooperate directly with ICE when it comes to immigration enforcement. The city prides itself on protecting immigrant communities, many of which are the backbone of Chicago's workforce and culture. But ICE doesn't answer to City Hall. Its agents are federal, and they operate by federal law. Over the years, Chicago has seen multiple crackdowns, raids in neighborhoods, surprise arrests at workplaces, and now, viral moments on busy streets. For immigrant communities, every sight of an ICE uniform is terrifying. Parents worry about being taken away from their children. Workers fear losing everything they've built. Activists argue that these tactics don't make the city safer. They only make people hide, distrust authorities, and live in constant fear. This viral chase tapped into that long-standing tension. It wasn't just entertainment. For many Chicagoans, it was a painful reminder of a battle that's been raging for years. The internet's reaction. Now let's talk about the internet, because this story lives and breathes online. Within hours, the video had millions of views. Some people praised the rider, calling him a modern-day folk hero. Comments flooded in. Not all heroes wear capes, some ride bikes. Others turned the chase into memes, editing it with dramatic music, slow-motion replays, and comparisons to Hollywood thrillers. But not everyone was laughing. On Twitter, debates broke out. Some users argued the rider was simply breaking the law and deserved to be caught. Others slammed ICE for wasting resources chasing down a man who was just trying to deliver food. Chicago's own residents seemed divided. Some were shocked to see this level of enforcement in their city streets. Others said it was about time immigration laws were being enforced. The polarization shows just how explosive the immigration debate is, and especially when it plays out on camera. For the entire world to see. The bigger picture, here's what makes this video more than just a viral clip. It symbolizes the clash between two forces: federal immigration enforcement and the everyday lives of immigrant workers in sanctuary cities like Chicago. One man on a bike versus 10 officers. It almost feels symbolic, doesn't it? A single worker, vulnerable, outmatched but determined, going head-to-head with the full force of federal power. And when he escapes, the internet doesn't just cheer because it looks dramatic. People cheer because it feels like an underdog victory. A powerless man winning, at least for a moment, against a system many see as overwhelming and unfair. Officials respond as the video spread. Pressure mounted on officials to respond. Chicago activists quickly condemned the chase, calling it reckless and unnecessary. Organizations that support immigrant rights used the video to highlight the dangers immigrants face daily. They demanded answers. Why was this man targeted? What triggered the chase? And how will the city respond? ICE, as usual, stayed mostly silent. Federal agencies rarely comment on specific viral incidents, but immigration lawyers say scenes like this are becoming more common as federal enforcement increases nationwide. Even City Hall was drawn into the spotlight. As a sanctuary city, Chicago faces constant tension between its values and federal power. The mayor's office has previously condemned heavy-handed tactics. This video only adds fuel to that fire. Why this matters now? The timing of this video couldn't be more critical. Across the United States, immigration remains one of the most heated political debates. Chicago has been receiving thousands of new migrants, especially from the southern border. Shelters are full. City budgets are stretched, and tensions are rising between longtime residents and new arrivals. Some Chicagoans are demanding stricter enforcement. Others argue for compassion and resources. Into that storm drops this viral chase. One man, one bike, one desperate escape. It reignites every emotion: fear, anger, pride, and division. The aftermath as of now, the man in the video hasn't been publicly identified. ICE hasn't announced whether he was later caught. For all we know, he may still be out there, delivering orders, blending into the crowd. His story now larger than life, but his image, pedaling hard, dodging hands, outpacing uniforms, is now burned into the city's memory. For some, it's proof that the little guy can win. For others, it's evidence of a broken system. Either way, Chicago won't forget it anytime soon.